Just breathe, and as you breathe, understand that the light on the earth has become so pervasive that with each passing day, the earth experiences a new level or a new vibration of its good. And so do you. So the light being that you were weeks ago is not the light being that you are now, is not the light being that you will be even tomorrow. Because your capacity for light expands exponentially. And therefore, your capacity for good and for joy expands exponentially. This light comes through dislodging any unconscious resistance to it and opening you simply to an energy of allowing. Now, what is also being dislodged is your attachment to the human consciousness and specific aspects of the human consciousness. And we would facilitate this dislodging this evening. The essence of the human consciousness is as follows. You come to earth. You are separate from God. You feel guilty and abandoned. You believe yourself to be punishable. You experience pain, struggle, sickness, and eventual death. And by the time you experience death, it is a relief from the hell on earth. This is the paradigm on your earth plane that is perceived to be the norm, and it has seemed to be inescapable until today. But now it is. There is enough light, and we have been working with you implicitly to do this, and now we will work with you explicitly to release from your vibration the unconscious attachment to that model of life, which is in truth an attachment to a model of death. That model of life no longer applies to you. And your task is to model a new life, a life in light, a life in hope, a life in peace, a life in joy, a life in grace, where the arc of life need not be an arc of pain, suffering, with small victories and ultimate death. Now, yes, this idea has been steeped so deeply in your consciousness that at times you have found it difficult, if not impossible, to envision any other type of life. But there is the capacity for you to envision this now, and in truth, there is the capacity for you to allow this now. So we would ask you in this moment to open to an energetic treatment that creates the space within you, a creative inner space into which the vibratory rate and visions of a life of grace can grow. You are, in a sense, excavating a space within you, planting a seed of a new energy, a new vibration, a new manifestation, a life of grace. So take a moment to breathe Just breathe. There is unused capacity in your individual and collective hearts, a part of your hearts that have been closed due to past heartbreak and the fear of future heartbreak, based, of course, on your feelings of being abandoned by God. We are opening this part of you now so that the heart, which is an extremely powerful, energetic funnel for light, can be opened even more, that you might manifest from the heart even more. So breathe, and we are working with your heart. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. And as we, in a sense, rewire your energetic circuitry, you can support us by working with the following thought form. I release the old model for Earth life of pain, struggle, and death. And I open to the new paradigm of Earth life, of joy, ease, fulfillment, and peace. I release the old model for human life on Earth, and I open to a new paradigm, a life of joy, peace, ease, and good. And breathe this in. This creates a space for an energetic seed to be planted. And in that seed that you will continue to nurture through your prayers and your meditations and your healings and your discussions and your fellowship and your communion with the light, this seed becomes a mighty oak of joy. So as the seed is being planted, you can influence its encoding. As you know, for the channel is fond of saying this, within the smallest of acorns is encoded the energy and likelihood and characteristics of a mighty oak. Well, a seed has been planted within you, and within it is encoded all of the potentials and characteristics for a life of grace, a life of ease, a life of joy, a life of fulfillment. So take a moment to realize this and feel and sense in a space energetically between your heart chakra and your solar plexus, behind your heart chakra and your solar plexus, there is a place where the seed for a life of grace has been planted. And take a moment now and allow ideas to flood into you from the realm of your highest self and from the realm of the divine. Ask, what does a life of grace look like for me? And this is the energy that helps encode the seed that you have just planted. What does a life of grace look like for me? Hold this energy and hold this energy and hold this energy and hold this energy, and ask again to magnify this energy. What does a life of grace look like for me? What does a life of grace feel like for me? Hold and expand these feelings. There is an extremely creative portal of energy that is available to you, an opening of energy that is available to you. We would suggest, if you choose, that over the next several days, 5 to 10 days, if you choose, you can write out a story of your life of grace. You can journal your feelings or observations of your life of grace. You can speak to your life of grace. Speak about it in your prayers, in your meditations, in the space where your creative energy is optimized and your auric energy is so open to the divine flow that what you speak has no choice but to manifest. You may even vision board your individual state of grace. My life of grace. And you can then, as you know, you may work with the vision board, energize it, energize with it, speak to it, let it speak to you. Meld with it, bond with it, live with it, be with it, speak it, sing it, shout it, clap it, welcome it, thank it. This is very important right now for you, for there is what you would call in human terms a wonderful opportunity over the next 5 to 10 days for the energy of your life of grace to be anchored on the earth, that it would inevitably outpicture in your world. Your life of grace awaits. And you may signal, if you choose, your acceptance by repeating to yourself and then working with it as a mantra. I accept and receive the life of grace God wills for me. I accept and receive the life of grace God wills for me. I accept and receive the life of grace God wills for me. Just breathe this in. Thank you, God, for a life of grace. 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 And sit with this for a moment. we would open this session to any questions you might have at this time.